that was the third time I testified after I retired. And I said, well, because I love my country, and I left when I retired from ICE for the second time, I promised them, even though I'm retiring from this position at ICE, I will never retire from having to do 6. So we got to go up and defend these men and women in the board on ICE. So I remember when I was walking outdoors, she looked at me, true story, she goes, well, I'm going to say a prayer for you. And I said, you better say a prayer for a Democrat, pisses me off. And he's the guy that did it. He claimed I didn't care about dying kids unless they were white. Which, the worst thing you can say, the worst thing you can say to a career law enforcement officer is you don't care about dying kids. So he pissed me off. So after him, AOC had to educate her that entering the country illegal was a crime. J. Paul, she says President Trump broke the law numerous times by spending money that wasn't obligated for detention beds, taking money from every place else and buying more detention space. And that's a crime. She says, that president committed a crime, and you're right there with him. You guys committed a crime by misspending money. Right? Let's wait a minute. President Obama did that 7 of the 8 years he was president. There was no hearing on that. You didn't call that a crime then. And then she tried to get me shut up. I said, no. I kept interrupting her because of anybody in that room, I earned the right to talk to her. And I'm the only one under oath. They're not under oath.
That's right.
So they can sit and lie about my president, lie about the men and women of the board, so lie about ICE, and they get away with it. Well, that day I was going to let them get away with it. Every time they said something about Trump that wasn't true, every time they said something about the board that wasn't true, I interrupted them. I actually thought I was going to get arrested and removed, but I lucked out. They didn't do that. But your congressman here, Washington Schultz, there's a nut. So after I did my opening statement, she was the first one. She was, I want to strike his record, his statement from the record as being completely inaccurate, false, and a lie. So I asked her, what I said was untrue. She goes, you're not allowed to talk. I'm not asking questions. She spent 5 minutes attacking myself and the men and women of Iceland Border Patrol. So lucky when Jim Jordan got the next talk, he came up to me and says, would you like to finish? I'll give my 3 minutes to you. You can say what you want. So I told Washington Schultz that I forgot more about this issue ever know. And none of my statements were accurate. I also reminded the chief of staff and said, you just accused me of perjury. You said I lied under oath. So I expect to be indicted. That is your job. You need to indict me now. And when I prove everything I said was accurate today, everything you own, I'm going to own. But I can't believe she's still a congresswoman in the state of Florida. Who the hell votes for these people? I don't know. So I'm not going to, I'll get away from Congress. I've had my share of Congress. I'm actually supposed to testify in 3 more weeks, so I'm going back. And that should be fun, because I know they're laying in for me, but I'm laying in for them too, so I don't give a shit what they think of me. Never have, never will. So I've been going around the country talking about President Trump, greatest president of my lifetime. I'll tell you a quick story the way I met him. I was third in command at ICE. And I decided to retire just before the election. I just spent 8 years with Obama. I wasn't going to spend 4 more years with Hillary Clinton. I was convinced Hillary was going to win. I think most of the country was convinced Hillary was going to win. So I said, screw this, I'm retiring. So I'm retired for the election. I signed a contract with a company making about 3 times as much as I did at ICE. My wife was happy. And no more death threats. You know, I didn't move my family anymore, so my wife was happy, so I decided to move on. I remember the night of the election, I wake up the next morning, my wife looks at me and says, Trump won. Now what are you going to do? And I looked at her and said, well, I already signed a contract with the company, and they're already looking for my replacement, so I'm going to leave. So in January, at my retirement party, it was the worst day of my life, because after 34 years of carrying badge and gun, that's what you become, and that day I was going to hang it up. I was no longer going to be a law enforcement officer at the end of that day. And that just tore me up. That's what you become. So I said, it was a sad day for me. At the end of the ceremony, me and my wife went home, we're shaking hands with everybody that came, and about 500 people showed up. And my chief of staff comes up to me, she goes, you have an emergency phone call in your office. I said, okay, what is it? Secretary John Kelly, DHS Secretary. I said, okay. my empty office, because my shit was already boxed up in my garage. I was starting a new job on Monday morning. This was on Friday. So I went to my empty office. My wife said, "What's that about?" I said, he couldn't make the event, so he probably called and said, "Congratulations." So I went to my office and picked the phone with John Kelly. It was Tom, this is Secretary Kelly. I said, "Sir, how are you doing?" He goes, "This may be bad timing." He goes, "President Trump told me to call you and say he wants you to be the director," which was a two-step promotion, "and run the agency." I said, "Sir, it's bad timing because I just retired." He goes, "No, you didn't. Paperwork's on my desk. I haven't signed it." He said, "What say you?" I said, "I just signed a contract with the company. I don't know what my legal obligations are. I need to talk to my wife and kids because they've been through an awful lot. I mean, I had death threats that you couldn't believe. I had death threats with my kids. And we went through a lot." I said, "I got to talk to my family." I says, can I make the decision on Monday?" He said, "Okay. Today's Friday. I'll call you Monday, 0600. I need an answer." "Okay." He said, "But let me leave you with this thought." And I remember this word for word. It was, "Tom, the President of the United States is asking you, a career law enforcement officer, to stay a little bit longer. The President needs your help. I'll call you on Monday." So with that, on the way home that night, my wife said, "What's the phone call about?" And I told her. She goes, "Hell no, I'm not doing it. You're about to make 3 times as much money, no more death threats." That's a solid no. And I said, "It's the President of the United States." She goes, "I don't give a shit, I don't like him." And she didn't, she hated him. She's his biggest fan now because she's something he did for this country. So Sunday night, we're laying in bed. She goes, "Well, what are you going to do tomorrow morning?" I said, "What do you think I'm going to do?" She goes, "You're going to do it." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." She said, "Okay, I'll support you." So John Kelly called me at 600, over 600, on the dot. He goes, "I need an answer." I said, "Let's do it." He goes, "Okay, shut your phone off." I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Shut your phone off because the White House is going to announce in about an hour and you're going to get killed by the media and everybody else." So I shut my phone off. I was going to show up at the office the next morning. I woke up the next day, turned my phone, I had like 600 messages. It was crazy. My phone was locked up. So I go to the office, walk into the building, and all these employees are looking at me with amazement. They just gave me a bunch of gifts on Friday. I'm walking in on Monday. And everybody says, and I'm getting all these looks. And I go up to my office, and I was met by 3 attorneys, ethics attorneys. This is a true story. So I walked in and said, "Can I help you guys?" They have a big long list of every gift I got on Friday. And it says all these gifts must be returned within 40 hours because all the people work for you now. It's all right. He says, "And there's a gift, your wife got a $500 gift certificate, that needs to be returned." And I looked at him and said, "Guy, let me write you a check. Because the last thing I'm doing my wife right now is ask her to get that money back because she's already pissed off and she probably already spent the money, so let me write a check." The next morning, I'm on Air Force One, the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. So that's how I met him. That's the first time I met him. And I remember sitting in Air Force One, we're going to Texas. Secret Service came back, said, "Mr. Trump would like to see, President Trump would like to see you in his office." I walked into his office, shook his hand, met for the first time. He goes, "Is it true?" I said, "What true?" He goes, "You ran enforcement move operations for 3 years, during command." Yes, sir. "You removed 1.2 million illegal aliens?" I said, "Yes, sir." "Do it again, but a hell of a lot more." He goes, I said, "What's my marching orders?" He says, "Enforce the law. Do what you're supposed to do. Enforce the law." That was my marching orders. You know, it wasn't what everybody thinks it is. They this guy's a racist or he's a mean guy. He just told me, "Do your job, enforce the law like you haven't done all to do the last 8 years. The law is clear. Enforce it." That was my marching orders. And that day was the greatest day of my life because I finally got a president that says, "Do your job." Yeah. That we weren't able to do 8 years prior. So that's why I met the guy. We've become close. I talk to him quite often, and that story was true. I knew he was going to run for president before any of you guys did, because I actually had dinner with him in Las Vegas. We were doing an event out there, and that dinner he's "Ted, I'm probably going to come back." I said, "Well, thank God." He goes, "Can I count on you?" I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm so pissed off, I'll come back for free. You don't have to pay me. And he's holding me to it. So in January 2025, when he walks back in my house, I'll be right on his heels. And I am going to run the largest deportation operation this country's ever seen. You hear him sitting on the street, he's going to run the biggest operation ever. He's not going to do shit. It's going to be me doing it. He's going to tell me. And I did a Fox News show a few weeks ago, and I made a statement that for all these millions of people the Biden administration is releasing their country, don't get too comfortable. The world will come looking for you in another year and a half. We have to. Here's what you need to know about what's happening on the southern border. They all say these people are asylum seekers. They got the right to claim asylum. Okay. But here's what you need to understand. Based on immigration court data in the last 10 years, 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at our border never get relief from U.S. courts because they simply don't qualify. They're not escaping fear and persecution from homeland. They're coming for a better life, and I get that. But that's not fear and persecution from your home government. You can only claim asylum if you're escaping fear and persecution from your home government because of race, religion, political affiliation. That's it. Coming for a better life, coming for a job does not qualify as asylum. That's a loophole. They understand if they come to the border and say that magic word, this administration will release them into the country. Half of them won't show up to court. 9 out of 10 will get an order of removal in about 3 to 4 years. The system's so backed up. The reason they're releasing them and they're not detaining them is because of another data point. And the Secretary Mayorkas, who should have been impeached 2 years ago, and I opposed. In the Republican Congress, I blame them too. They talked a big game during the midterms. Where the hell are they out now? Based on the numbers just came out this weekend, they ought to be impeached. They need to start talking about that again. I'm sick of them too. Mainly the Republicans, they talk a strong game during elections. Then once they get in there, you don't hear shit come on. So they need to hold accountable. So 9 out of 10 don't qualify. Here's the other data point you need to know. Why do they release them? Why don't they detain them? Because the Homeland Security Life Cycle Report, which is a report published by the Department of Homeland Security, the Secretary Mayorkas' very own report comes out every year that says this: if you're in custody and you get an order of removal, you're removed 99.7% of the time. If you're not in custody and you get order of removal, for instance, if you're a family unit, you leave 6% of the time. This is why they're releasing them. They have the same data point. This is the hard information to find. Anybody can Google it. They know 9 out of 10 don't qualify. They know 9 out of 10 will get order removal. But if they don't detain them, they're never leaving. And what happens then? The immigration courts are backed up 10 years in New York. When they finally get order removal, we'll go look for them. They'll have 1 USC kid, or 2 USC kids, or 3 USC kids. And I was ICE director. I even had a Republican senator just call me and said, why'd you remove that guy with 2 USC kids? Well, he didn't have 2 USC kids when he came here illegally and committed a crime, entered the country illegally. He didn't have 2 USC kids when he committed perjury and claimed asylum. He didn't have 2 USC kids when he got order removal. So because he has 2 USC kids, now he's immune. The justice system means nothing. The federal court ordering him removed should be executed. I said, because that's the way we're going to play this game, then shut down the immigration courts too, because obviously those orders don't mean anything anymore. Even Republican senators call me, and I refuse to back down. No. They chose to have 2 U.S. citizen kids running here illegally after order removal. That's on them. He can leave the kids here. He's leaving. And I refuse to not deport somebody for a USC kid. Not that I'm a bastard. It's just the way it is. If there's no consequence, there's no deterrent, and violating laws in this country, they will keep coming. And so this is the right administration's releasing them. Because they have the same data points that they don't want them to remember. Even if they lose their case, ICE isn't even looking for them. Because Secretary Mayorkas has said, on record, being in the country illegally on its own isn't enough for ICE to seek an arrest. He's told ICE officers, you can't enforce immigration laws. You may be immigration officers, you may have taken an oath, but guess what? You can't do it. So ICE officers, the agency I used to run, these guys are sitting around with nothing to do because they can't arrest somebody being here illegally. That shit's going to change in here in about 14 months. They're going to go do the job again. If there's no consequence, no deterrence, it's never going to stop. A couple of things, and I'm sorry if I use, I say shit a lot. My wife said, stop saying that. If I did, it wouldn't be me. So if I offend anybody tonight, I don't care. Here's what you need to know. The numbers just came out this weekend, right? 200, just shy of 270,000 encounters in 1 month. 270,000, which is the most recorded 1 month apprehension in the history of this country.
They're terrorists.
Think about that. First year, we had the most secure border of my lifetime under President Trump. Illegal immigration was at a 45-year low.
Yes.
Illegal immigration was down 83 to 90%, depending on what time you frame you look at it. Within months, Joe Biden came in and created a historic illegal immigration crisis. First year, 1.7 million. Historic record. Second year, 2.4. He broke a whole new historic record. And this year, just shy of 2.5. He beat last year. But here's what they're not telling you. So this year's numbers, even though it's a brand new historic record, here's what they're not telling you. Here's what the administration's not telling you. I just wrote an op-ed on this today. The numbers are much worse than 270. The numbers are much worse than 2.5. Here's why. Because he's bringing thousands through the airports, and through the port of entry, what they call legal pathways, which isn't legal at all. To parole somebody in the country, you must do a case-by-case analysis based on the factors of that specific case that results in significant benefit of this country. You're not doing a case-by-case analysis. I just told you 90% of him qualifies. But he's bringing thousands a day through the ports of entry, airport. Miami. They're getting them every day, and Florida's getting them every day. So I wrote an op-ed today that says, yeah, they got a whole new historic record just announced. But don't be fooled, it's much worse. So if you look at total nationwide encounters, northern border crossings are up over 800%. No one's even talking about northern border. I grew up on the northern border. Crossings up for 800%. Add that to the southern border. Add that to what they're bringing through the ports. 3.2 million encounters this year. 3.2 million. Compare that to the Trump administration. They got 270,000 just on the southwest border. You know what Trump averaged his last year in office? 45,000. 45,000 compared to 270,000. But you know what the difference was? We didn't catch and release. They were either detained or removed. Notice they weren't released. I think in my year and a half as ICE director, I did 3 paroles. 3. 2 were brought in the country touched by a drug cartel here, and 1 was for liver transplant. A kidney transplant. 1 of them. To a daughter that was a U.S. citizen, came in, did a transplant, and went back home. I issued 3 paroles in a year and a half. This administration is doing about 18,000 a month. This is what they're doing. The worst part about the numbers that came out this weekend, 18 people off the terrorist watch list was arrested in September.
Yep.
18. 18 in 1 month. 4 years working for Trump, we got 14 in 4 years. They got 18 in 1 month. They got 272 so far since Joe Biden's been in Wow. So 272 in 3 years. Trump, 14.
Wow.
Here's what should scare the hell out of you, because it scares the hell out of me. Border Patrols arrested people from 171 different countries. Some of these countries are sponsors of terror. They arrested 272 off the terrorist watch list. Terrorists are trained to evade law enforcement. So these guys are obviously morons. They got caught. We got 1.7 million gotaways since Joe Biden's been in the White House. 1.7 million known gotaways. How do we know? They were caught in camera traffic, drone traffic, or central traffic. Recorded entering the United States. But we're not apprehended because the board was too busy changing diapers, making babies formula, making hospital runs for the humanitarian crisis. They were arrested 274. We got 1.7 million gotaways. 171 different countries, made these countries sponsor terror. If you don't think a single one of that 1.7 gotaways didn't come here to do us harm, then you're a moron. I did a show this morning, and Orange Jones, I told you to ask you this, Tom, this, I said, I know. There's no doubt in my mind terrorists across this border in Joe Biden. No doubt in my mind. It's just play the odds. 1.7 million gotaways? Come on. There's a reason why 1.7 million people didn't turn themselves in. You pay the cartels 2 different amounts of money. You pay them one amount of money to cross the river and turn yourself in. Cartels works easy. Just throw them across the river. You pay a higher amount to get away. So you pay the cartel, I'm going to get to New York. I want to get to Chicago. I don't want to turn myself in. Why did 1.7 million people pay more to get away? Why did they not want to turn themselves in the Border Patrol, get processed within 8 hours, get an airline ticket to the city of their choice at taxpayer expense, get work authorization while they fight their case, and even when they lose that case, no one's looking to remove them because ICE can't arrest them. They're not allowed to. Who would not take advantage of that giveaway program at a lot cheaper rate? Think about it. People that don't want to be vetted. People that don't want to be fingerprinted. These are the people carrying fentanyl. These are the gang members. These are the criminals. And these are the terrorists. I don't give a shit what anybody says on any other network TV. There's no way a terrorist will not cross this border under this administration. The border is wide open. And the reason I say that is after 9/11, I was in headquarters. After 9/11, as you know, the terrorists came here on a visa, took a plane ticket in, and did what they did, a year or two down the road. It's only 6 months. So we created all these databases. We created the no-fly list. We created the FBI screening database. We created a visa security program, which I used to run. Anybody puts in for a visa, they get vetted through numerous databases, including DOD intel databases, people that were encountered during war, or out in the field during the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. DOD has a tremendous intel database. Anybody encountered on the battlefield, there's a record of it. There's an eye picture of it. There's a retina picture of it. What terrorist in the world would apply for a plane ticket or a visa knowing he's going to be vetted through all these numerous databases and possibly be out when he can simply go to Mexico, pay the cartels a little bit extra money, and be a goner, like the 1.7 million others did. That's why I'm convinced no unsuspected terrorists in this country. I know for a fact 2 whistleblowers contacted me because they see me on the news. I'm always down on the border. 2 whistleblowers contacted me and shared a story with me that this administration, this secretary, Mayorkas, what he's done is borderline treasonous. The only thing this man has done to deal with this crisis is send more resources to the border to process quicker and release quicker. Because if they can prevent overcrowding, there's nothing to see here. That deal in the box drone, 15,000 Haitians under the bridge, that was a bad day for the administration. What happened right after that?
Gone.
What happened right after that?
They disappeared.
He says they're all going to be removed. None were removed, they all got released. What else happened 3 days into that saga? The President of the United States and the Secretary stood at the White House podium and accused the men of the Horse Patrol of whipping black migrants. The Secretary was told 2 days before the press conference that that did not happen. The guy that took the pictures in the video said they did not whip anybody. It made it look like it, but they didn't whip anybody. But the Secretary and the President still stood at the White House podium and slandered these men as whipping black migrants. Why did they do that? To take the heat off themselves on the border crisis. So they threw their own men under the bus. Let's start talking about Border Patrol being racist and they made them back off us. That is disgusting. The Secretary of Homeland Security threw his own men under the bus. I went after him. I watched that video. I knew in 5 seconds they did nothing wrong. I was in the Border Patrol. I know the rules of engagement. The officers did exactly as they were trained, spinning the reins, which is done to keep the horses away from people. The officers did exactly as they were trained. The horses did exactly as they were trained, just like the horses in New York City in crowd control. They did nothing wrong. The only people that did anything wrong that day were the Haitian migrants who entered the country illegally, which is a crime, ignored federal orders, federal commands, which is a felony, but no one talked about, they're the ones doing the wrong thing. Those men were called out by the President of the United States and the Secretary as being racist. I know for a fact their wives and children were bullied in churches and bullied in schools as their dad being racist with them black men. They're still not back to full duty. To this day, even though the investigation is showing completely innocent, they're still not back to full duty because now they've got a separate investigation. Well, that guy used a bad word. He has to be reprimanded. Or that person was too aggressive. You need to reprimand him. They're going to reprimand these men for something to save face because the White House don't want to take the hit. The chief of the Border Patrol used to be a friend of mine, Raul Ortiz. I've known him 20 years, we're friends. I went after him on Fox News. He called me up and says, Tom, I thought we were friends. I said, I thought we were too. You were in Horse Patrol. You ordered them there. You know the rules of engagement. You're not saying squat. Get up there and defend your men. Well, I can't, I'll be deciding official. I gotta be, you ain't gonna be deciding official on shit. The White House ain't gonna let you decide punishment. That's gonna come straight from the White House. I said, people say, well, about Tom Homan, I was vice director. I had my men's back. Men and women worked for me. If they were doing what I told them to do, I stood behind them, 100%. I said, you are a failed leader. Unless you get out there and talk and defend these men right now, then don't ever call me again. We haven't spoken since because he failed to speak up to him. And I know what these men went through. These guys are just 12 Border Patrol agents who are called racists. They're the most powerful man in the world. By their boss, the Secretary of Homeland Security. I have no respect for that man. If the Secretary of Homeland Security had any integrity at all, all the information I just gave you on terrorism, he has those same data points. He knows somebody crossed. If he had 1 ounce of integrity, he would go to the president and say, look, I can't support this open borders policy anymore. This is a national security threat. This is the biggest national security failure that's in this country since 9/11. I can't do this no more. You either stop it or I'll resign. But he doesn't. He keeps getting to national TV, says we're secure, everything's fine and dandy. Again, he needs to be impeached. And if they don't do it, then the Republicans who vote for not impeaching, they can go to hell too and need to get them out of office.
That's right. Yep.
But we can't play these games. It's our national security efforts. And I'm telling you right now, I hate to say this, but something's coming. I took a beating on the news today. I said that. I said, something's coming. Oh, Tom, no. I'm not being careful anymore. Matter of fact, I see these networks. Well, we've seen what happened to the Israeli children and women. It was too terrible. It was too inhumane. We can't talk about it on live TV, but let's take it our word for it. It's terrible. No, stop that horse shit. Get on TV and tell American people exactly what happened to these kids. Tell them what exactly happened to these women. Because you got thousands protesting, supporting Hamas in New York City, Chicago, Detroit, and the rest of them, supporting what these guys did. Get out there, no matter how terrible it is. I don't care if it's national TV or not. I mean, I see sex on TV all the time. The shit I see on TV all the time, I never used to see as a kid. And I say, if I had a young kid right now, I want him to watch TV. So tell the people what these terrorists did. And maybe you wouldn't have so much of this, these people defending Hamas. I know what some of these, children were burnt alive in front of their parents. Had parts cut off them. Decapitated. Women were raped after they're dead. Then cut off their heads. And cut off other body parts. These guys are animals. So tell the viewing audience in America what exactly happened. Show them pictures. That's what needs to happen. So I'm sick and tired of the politically correctness. We can't talk about it. It's too dire. No, talk about it. And I know I came off with Republican congressmen and senators. Do your job too. And stop playing the game. I thought Jim Jordan did a great speaker of the House.
Yep.
And you can pick on Matt Gaetz all they want, but it's about time we not keep giving billions of dollars to countries and protecting their borders. We don't protect our own. So people want to hate on Matt Gaetz. You can hate on him. Someone needs needs to stand and demand change. So that's why I wake up every day pissed off. People say, why are you always pissed off? Why are you always pissed off? And that's why I come to Congress. Because I'm pissed off because I wake up every day knowing that we handed this administration the most secure border of my lifetime. Look, I worked for 6 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. I respect every president I worked for. Even Obama and Clinton. I didn't agree with immigration policies, but I respect them because they're the president of the United States, elected by the American people. Even Obama and Clinton took some steps to secure our border. They did, I was there. Because they knew, they understood you can't have national security unless you got border security. You got to know what's coming into this country. You got to know what's crossing the borders. Some did more than others. I mean, under President Obama in FY12, I removed 490,000 illegal aliens, which is a record for us. That was under President Obama. So, I mean, his last 4 years, he did the complete opposite. We weren't allowed to do shit. The first 4 years, we were hammering pretty good. But every president ever worked for took some steps to secure the border. Some did more than others. No one did more than President Trump. He was unprecedented. Joe Biden's the first president in the history of this nation who came into office and unsecured the border. Think about that. First president, first commander-in-chief came into office and said, I want to unsecure the border. It's pretty secure right now, but rather than building on it and giving us the safest country and the safest border and protect our sovereignty, he came and destroyed everything we did. He wrote 90 executive orders. Get rid of everything we did. And within months, historic illegal immigration. This isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. This is by design. This is what they want. I got to give Biden some credit. He said he was going to do it. He did. At least he got the word. You got to give him credit for that. He ran. He says he's going to award amnesty. He's going to award DACA. He's going to end deportations. He's going to shut down ICE detention. He's going to give health care. He's done it all. You got to give him credit. Even though it's terrible for this country, he kept his word. That's why you need to get rid of this guy. And the number 2, she's a moron. She get rid of her too. That's why I think the only hope we got. I was speaking in New Hampshire the other day. All the presidential candidates were there except Trump. I felt a little outnumbered. But Asa Hutchinson used to be the DHS secretary. I went to Asa before I spoke. I said, Asa, I respect you. I said, you're DHS secretary for almost 2 years. I respect the service of your country, but you're not gonna like what I gotta say. I'm a Trump guy. I said, let's face it, you ain't got a shot in hell. So I'm going there, we'll talk about the greatest president ever worked for Donald Trump. He said, well, I know, thank you. You can disagree. I'm just giving you a heads up. Might not want to be around. He gave the speech, I got up to that. Good thing. And I got on stage, I even said, look, I respect everybody running for president. I respect all the GOP contenders, except Christie. What a pathetic person he is. I said more than that, but almost got in trouble, but I said what I thought. I said I respect everybody but Christie. I respect they all serve the country in some way. I respect that. But we don't need to pretend Trump. We got Trump. Ron DeSantis, I'm upset because he lies. Great governor. But don't get on national TV and say Trump could have done more on the border. Don't get on national TV and say Trump only built 54 miles of wall. Trump built 465 miles of wall. I was there. And don't say he could have done more. It was unprecedented what he did. 45-year low in immigration. It was actually the lowest in history of the United States, but before 45 years, we weren't keeping records. When you say you can do more, give the guy credit for what he's done. And you go down the southern border, so you're going to finish the wall, you're going to take on the cartels, you're going to have mass deportations. Everything you're saying is a Trump plan. At least give the guy credit. If you're going to steal his ideas, at least give the man some credit. So, great governor, he's not going to be the next president. Donald Trump will be our next president.
Yep.
Yep.
One thing about President Trump, what made President Trump great, is that he listened to the experts. The border wall, that wasn't Trump's idea. He told the border trouble. What can I do? What the hell? Border wall. We've always wanted it. He gave the border trouble something they wanted for decades, and it works. Now people hear Jen Psaki, before she was the White House, and this other idiot that the White House person, I don't get her name, Kareem something. I know her name, but I don't respect to say it. They want to say the border walls don't work. They stopped building the walls don't work. They both said it numerous times. And I sat there and listened to them. I sat on my couch with them, and at first when Jen Psaki said something. We stopped building the walls down back then. It was a waste of money. It was a vanity wall. A lot. Anybody go to cbp.gov and look at the stats. Every place they build a border barrier, every place, 100% of the time, illegal immigration decreased, illegal drug trade. I hear now talking about one spokesman notice says, well, obviously the wall don't work because we see massive immigration, illegal immigration. But the question is, but where are they crossing? They're crossing where there isn't a wall. You idiot. That's where they're coming from. Walls work. Walls save lives. And we built the wall. We understood wall isn't end all be all. There's some young guys that actually scale that wall. Not many. The wall is meant to slow people down. The wall that Trump built is a smart wall. You touch the wall, we know. You dig under the wall, we know. You attach something to the wall, we know. I won't tell you how we know, but we know it's a smart wall. But the wall is meant to slow people down. Because when they touch, dig, climb, we know we can respond. But the most important thing about the wall is to save lives, because the women and the children and the most vulnerable who can't climb that wall, they're going to go to a place where there isn't a wall. And what's going to be sitting there waiting on them? The United States Border Patrol. And the first thing they're going to do is provide medical attention to a lot of people in bad shape. The walls save lives of the most vulnerable people. And here's what I want to talk about Joe Biden. This pisses me off every day too. They say the Trump policies were inhumane. Secretary Murphy said the other day about family separation. Now they're going to let these people be resident aliens. They're going to give them money and the horrible family separations. Let me talk about it real quick. They want to talk about family separations. It wasn't family separations. It was zero tolerance. Me and the AOC got knocked out. It was zero tolerance. So why did we try zero tolerance? Because 31% of women that make that journey get raped by the cartels.
That's right.
That's not my number. Doctors Without Borders did an independent study. 31, they talked to thousands of women that made the journey. 31% of women that make that journey through the cartels get raped. Not once, numerous times. Children were dying. Like record numbers. So when the Trump administration said, okay, how can we stop this? How can we stop these people from bringing their kids across and doing this? Zero tolerance. It's against the law to enter country legally. It's a crime. We'll start prosecuting. Which means the child has to be separated from the child can't go to lockup with the parent. U.S. Marshals custody. Well, people say we just did that to separate families. No, it was zero tolerance. Police departments use zero tolerance for DUI. On weekends, certain weekends, holiday weekends, they use zero tolerance for prostitution. I've been a cop for 35 years. Zero tolerance was used by police departments around the country. When a U.S. citizen is arrested with a child in his possession, he gets arrested for DUI, they get separated. When I was a cop in New York, and I went to the house and arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated the family. U.S. citizen families get separated thousands of times a day in this country because the parents are arrested. But they want a different set of rules for those entering the country legally. What they don't tell you about zero tolerance is that in the first 2 illegal crossings dropped over 25%. It was working. They want to go back to those schools. Meanwhile, they want to keep beating on me about what they call family separation. Meanwhile, they can't find 100,000 children they release the so-called punishment. Yeah, 2,500 separations, but you lost 100,000 kids. You gave 100,000 kids away to people you don't know who the hell they are, now you can't find them. I guarantee you, based on my 35 years experience, some of these kids are enforced later. You've probably seen the news articles lately. There's already 6 different investigations of kids as young as 8 working at meat packing plants, cleaning up entrails at midnight shift, making no money. They're in forced labor, they're in pornographic movies, or they're living with a pedophile, or they're in forced sex trade. These kids are being sold. Trust me, I've done enough of these investigations, that's what's happening to a lot of these kids. These kids are living a life of hell because this administration brags how quick these kids are not in custody. But Sarah, the secretary for HHS, had a speech the other day. We're releasing these kids at record pace. Yeah, because you're not properly vetting the sponsors. And you can't find 100,000. Congratulations. But they want to pick on us for our inhumane policies? Are you? When Trump had illegal immigration down 83%, when 83% less people were coming, how many women weren't being raped? How many kids weren't dying? How many pounds of fentanyl didn't get in the country kill Americans? How many non-suspected terrorists didn't get in the country because the Border Patrol was vigilant 100% on the line? How many women and children were sex trafficked? President Trump's policies saved lives. What's Joe Biden done since he's been president? We got 1,700, just over 1,700 migrants have died on U.S. soil. Historic record. Over 100,000 Americans died of fentanyl overdoses. Historic record. Sex trafficking women and children is up 314%. His policies aren't humane. They're killing Americans or killing migrants at record numbers. When you promise the world, you can come to this country legally, you can enter, we'll release you, we'll give you work authorization, we'll put you in a hotel at $500 a night, we'll give you 3 squares, we'll give you medical attention, we'll give you in-state tuition, we'll even give you money to fight your immigration case. The U.S. taxpayers will give you money to fight the government against deportation. Who the hell wouldn't come? When you make that kind of offer to the most vulnerable people in the world, they're going to put themselves in the hands of criminal cartels, take that brand. They're going to come. President Biden's policies aren't humane at all. They're killing people. That man needs to leave. So this is what, so people say, so now you know, when someone asks, yeah, I saw Tommy, on the Fox the other day, he seems to be mad. That's why I'm mad. Because when I'm talking to you right now, about 7:45, there are several women right now getting raped on the southern border. Being raped right now by these criminal cartels. Not once. The whole cartel take the turn. How do I know that? I've talked to these women. I've interviewed these women. Some child is going to die tonight. On the border. I was in Brooks County, Texas, 6 months. I want to tell you a story. I don't mean it. Well, I do. I hope you get pissed off, or I hope you get sad. Because you need to. You need to hold your congressmen and senators responsible. I don't care if you're Republican and say, well, we don't own the Senate. Bullshit. You may not own the Senate, but you have to sit down and negotiate squat with Democrats. Boycott every meeting with them until they show you one thing to do to secure the border and save some lives. You have to sign off an infrastructure plan. You don't have to sign off on a budget. Enough's enough. At what point is it bad enough we shut it down? The House can shut the government down tomorrow. They don't need to fund the government. Shut it down. And how in previous that's pretty drastic. How drastic it doesn't have to be. Over 100,000 pounds over that. Like I said here, the criminal cartels of Mexico have killed more Americans than any terrorist organization. How bad does it need to get? Now with the terrorism aspect I just told you, when is enough where you say, no, it might sound pretty drastic, shut the government down, but I think we're there. Shut it down. Well, I was down in Brooks County 6 months ago. I was riding with Benny Martinez, Brooks County Sheriff. I was with him for 4 hours. In 4 hours, we found 2 dead bodies. And I said, how many dead bodies you found? This is a county with a sheriff and 6 deputies. He was town. We had like 140 dead bodies in my county alone. He goes, my guys aren't the sheriff's deputies anymore. They don't force criminal law. We're too busy looking for dead bodies. We're not important. I don't know. Last time we wrote a traffic ticket, we're all out looking for dead bodies. Well, I was there after we left him. I went and me and 2 other guys went and talked to a doctor down there, Dr. Victor. His ranch down there. So I went down there. He finds dead bodies in his ranch all the time. Then he told me the story. I want to share it with you. It was a family from Africa. Mother, father, and a child. The child was 20 months old. Little girl. 20 months. The cartel's moving across the river in a boat. Border Patrol's approaching in a boat. Cartels do what they always do. They'll throw the baby in the river, knowing that the men and women in Border Patrol wearing 60 pounds of gear are going to dive in that river and save that baby. Cowards. Let's sacrifice a little baby so we don't get arrested. Through the mother and father, none of them can swim. The brave men of the Border Patrol jumped in the river and saved all 3. At least they thought they saved all 3. The little baby died on the way to the hospital. 20 months. 20 months on the little girl. This doctor told me during a post-mortem, this 20-month-old little girl was sodomized and never opened her body. Months. Can you imagine the pain that little girl went through? No child deserves that. That's just evil. And this shit's going on all the time. That's why I'm pissed. President Trump, he had the border locked down. And this administration came in and unlocked it. People are dying every day. During my times as a special agent criminal investigator, I talked to little girls as young as 9 who were raped multiple times. There was one little girl I talked to. I mean, I look in her eyes. I'm trying to interview her. Her eyes was just, I can't explain it. It was just black. Any sense of humanity, any sense of her innocence, she was destroyed. Not just physically, but mentally. Little 9-year-old girl that adult men crawl on doing what they do. That's why I'm pissed. And that's why I get emotional, because I know what happens down there. It's evil. And this government came in office and turned it on. How dare they attack myself or Trump or anybody else working for Trump administration? I'm being inhumane. And they know what's happening as well as I do. They had 14 deaths in 1 week, 2 weeks ago. What changed me forever is when I was at the headquarters, I was in Dallas, Texas, giving a speech to the International Chiefs of Police Association. And I get a phone call from headquarters saying, we got a crisis down in Victoria, Texas. You need to get down there to run the investigation. We had a smuggling incident. So the director at the time, John Morton, knew I spent most of my career investigating cartels that smuggled people, smuggled drugs, smuggled guns. So I got an Air Marine helicopter in Dallas, and they flew me down to Victoria, Texas. I get there, I get walked through the crime scene by a Texas Ranger and a sheriff. And I grew up in a town of 2,500 people. If I wanted money, I didn't get allowance. I went to the farm and milked cows in the morning and at night. On Saturdays, me and brother go down to Fort Montgomery, shine boots in front of the PX for 50 cents a pair. My dad didn't give us a lot. My dad said, you want money? You're going to make it. My dad was the greatest dad who raised a man. Grew up in the town of 2,500. Here I am, fast forward, in the back of a tractor trailer surrounded by 19 dead aliens, including a 5-year-old little boy who suffocated in his father's arms. I remember I got to the crime scene, the crime photographer came up, and we used to do crime scene photography in quadrants. I told him, I said, do the front, get up to the young child, get the young child, go to the back, come back to the front, young child's last. He looked at me and said, Mr. Homan, I said, just do it. But I said, do it, that's the way we're going to do it. The reason we did that way, because I couldn't deal with the child. I had a 5-year-old son at the time. This kid was about the same size as my kid. Everybody, just about all the victims were in their underwear. They took off every piece of clothes they had because you're in a steel lock box, totally black. Foreigner says probably 175, 180 degrees. These people baked to death. They took off all their clothes down their underwear, hoping to get something to eat. There were so many people in the back of that tractor trailer that they're dying standing up because there's no room to fall. I remember when I looked in the back of the tractor trailer, I just keyed on that little boy. And his father was over the top of him. His father died on top of him. And I couldn't deal with it at the time. So that's why we did it. And when you heard me say this, the Congress said, I didn't care about dying kids. At the end, I did. I knelt down beside the little boy, put my hand down and said a prayer because I knew what his last hour of life was like. I knew that little boy suffered. Everybody suffered. But for some reason, that little boy just broke my heart. Because no child should be like that, die like that. Then the investigation continued. The people that survived said for the last 30 minutes when that child was conscious, he begged his father not to let him die. Daddy, I don't want to die. I want my mom. No 5-year-old child should have to beg for his life to be saved. Why am I telling you all this stuff? Because now you understand Tom Homan. I spent 35 years, 34 years. I've seen terrible, terrible things in my career. After that tractor trailer incident, we spent 2 months down there. We put all 14 in prison. After I got done with that, I had to go to help. I'm not afraid to say it. I still can't tell some of the stories about tearing it up. But after that incident, I couldn't sleep. I had nightmares every night. I had to go see somebody. Thank God we had a program at ICE would actually go get some help. Because it was tearing me up. So that's the secret to Tom Homan, I know. Why does he get emotional? Why does he get mad? Because this is what's happening right now as we're sitting here talking, because this administration chose to unsecure the border. They chose to shut down the most successful enforcement strategy this country's ever had under President Trump. And that's why I committed to President Trump. I'm so pissed off, I will come back. He looked at me and said, well, you might want to take a paycheck. I don't need that much to begin with. So I'll take a paycheck. But I make you a promise here tonight. Like I said, if President Trump gets back in the White House,
Yep.
I'll drop everything on the board. I'll take a hell of a pay cut. I'll go back in a heartbeat. And we'll shut this border down. Give me 90 days. And we'll shut this border down and secure it once again. So make sure
Yes,
you
sir.
vote Trump. Vote for Trump and vote for Homan.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Tom.
Woo.
Tom, tell them the story about the MS-13. Tell them the story about the MS-13. When Trump gave you all the planes to take out the MS-13. That's a good one. No, that'll cheer you up.
Here's that story. Man, I knew you were behind all that. When I was ICE director, we did an operation called Operation Matador in New York. Most of the time, Long Island. We arrested just shy of 500 gang members, most of them was 13. So when I set the report at the White House, we called them the yeah, that's a good operation. Let's go up there, do a press conference. I said, okay, we got to fight the sheriffs, because sheriffs are a big part of the task force. Yeah, let's go fight everybody. So I pulled an Air Force One president, and matter of fact, on the way up there, I got called in his office. He goes, hey, come on, the other day, I saw you on TV. You said something I thought was really cool. Because MS-13 was making death threats. He says, I'm not worried about MS-13 because my game is bigger than their game. He's like, because you said that was pretty cool. You met gang meant law enforcement, right? I said, yeah. He goes, that was cool. He said, my game is bigger than their game. He looks over Steve and he goes, how mean, give me some good shit like that to say on doing a speech. I'm saying, you don't give me anything like that to say. My game is bigger than their game. I like that. He goes, Homan, Miller ain't doing it, so you give me something cool to say at this press conference. So I gave him something to say. So we get there, we'll do a press conference. We fly back. Matter of fact, we flew back, this is in my book. He called me in his office again. He goes, Tom, what do you think of John Kelly? I said, he's a great secretary. People like him, I said, no. He's a great secretary of Homeland Security. Let's do our job. But well-liked, well-respected by everybody. Couldn't be a better secretary. Thanks. That's all. I'm not going to tell that off. He gets off Air Force One and does a press conference. That's when we made John Kelly chief of staff. It's a mistake. John Kelly, as we all know, left that White House in bad shape. But he was a good secretary. Anyway, so on the way back, he was talking to me. So how can we keep these guys out of here? I said, well, sir, that's a problem. Because El Salvador is pushing back and taking any criminal back. For those who don't know, when we deport somebody, we just can't deport them. We get the country's permission to send back their citizens, and they have to issue us a travel document that we have to buy. Bullshit. So I told Trump, are you kidding me? No. How long has this been a problem? He said, 3 years. That's bullshit. You gotta get out of here. I'm with you. He goes, how many planes can you fill? What? El Salvador. All right, buddy. Get ready. Okay. So I get back to my office, and 2 days later, I'm sitting in my office, my cell phone rings, and President Trump goes, 11 planes, put them by tomorrow, get them out of here. I says, I called them, I said, you're taking them back, I'm pulling every dollar of national money I give them, it's gone. So he says, send me what you got, I'll take everything you got. Take the playing field and send them south. And that's the type of person, he was a badass president. He told us, I said, you will take these people, well, I'm gonna take every dollar we give you away from you. That's one thing President Trump, when he got the 3 countries to sign the 30 state country agreements, that if you leave us, if you really escape fear and persecution from Guatemala, when you get to Mexico, have you not escaped that fear and persecution? You should be claiming asylum in Mexico. And they wouldn't sign it. He said, Tom, how do you guys handle this in the past? These Central American countries. I said, well, every other administration would send millions of dollars down there to create opportunity zones to keep the people there so they won't leave. He said, it works. I said, no. Fails. The money gets to, these governments are corrupt. The money never gets where it wants. It never changes, and they keep coming. All right, well, I'm not giving them a dollar. I'm going to take every penny away. So he called these 3 Central American countries, the presidents, he told me this, and says, you're going to sign this 30 state country agreement. Well, no, we're not. What are you at? Or I'm not going to not only not give you money, I'm going to take all the money I give you away from you. You're never going to get another penny. And that's the way it's going to be. He said within 24 hours, all the 3 presidents were promised, okay, what do you want to sign? That president, first president, to do that. He's a badass president. He didn't take any shit. I saw President Mexico, you're going to do an AMS program. No, we're not. You're going to put military in the northern southern border. No, we're not. You're going to do it. I'm going to tear through to the billions of dollars. Okay, we'll do it. That's the president from balls, I'm telling you. He got it done. And that's what made him a great president, because he wasn't a politician. He was a businessman that knew how to make a deal. And he was a guy who wasn't going to take any garbage. I'll leave it at this. I've been with this man hundreds of hours. In the Oval Office, in Air Force One, at Mar-a-Lago, around the country. I never met a man, other than myself, who loves this country more than anybody in this world. He loves this country. You can just see it. When he talks to you, he loves this country. He told me one time, I told him how I grew up. I grew up in town 2,500. Everybody had a flag on their front. We walked 4 miles outside of Fort Drum, a very patriotic town. We don't have that in America right now. We don't have it. And President Trump told me, when I had dinner in Las Vegas, his word, I want the American time that you and I broke. And that's what we're going to do in the second term. So that's why I support him back. So I love America. We all, but we're all about the same age. Remember America we grew up in? January 2025, when he walks back in the White House.
Oh, yes.
Again, I'll be on his heels. Not too close. They should stop short. I'll be pretty close.
Yep.
Thank you.
Woo! Thank you. Yes.
Water right there. I didn't mean to bring that up.
You still have books for sale?
I don't know.
Still books? Yes? Will you entertain questions?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
does anybody
cả nhà
have any
nha.
questions? Okay.
Thank you,
Joe,
cả
can
nhà.
we get
Xin kính chào cả
another
nhà.
mic,
Bầu bự
perhaps?
nè, đưa tổng thống về tự hào, ok.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Maybe you can-
Goodbye quý vị. Vừa rồi quý vị mới phát biểu của Tom Homan đó quý vị. Defend border đó. Okay, good luck. Tạm biệt quý vị nha.
Mr. Homan,
Bye.
the question I have is,
Yeah.
with everybody walking across our border and for as long as it's been going on,
Tiếp tục.
what is the likelihood somebody's
Yeah,
brought
thank you.
a weapon of mass destruction and carried it into our country and that we don't know about it?
It's very likely.
But it's not your
Scares the
business.
hell out of me. I'm serious. I've never been more scared about safety and security these things right now. And don't listen to the congressman from the left, the Democrats say that most of the fentanyl comes through the port of entry and is being carried by Americans. That's bullshit. Cartels are using around the least resistance. When 70 to 90% of agents are off the line, that's really the new stuff. The weapons of mass destruction, the fentanyl, the terrorists. We're not going to come to every car stopped at a port of entry. You're asked questions. Depending on your responses, you may secondary. There's also the CBP targeting system. Can't tell you what's in it, law enforcement sensitive, and they put a plate number in there. Numerous databases bounces off, and it may come back. That may be a key vehicle you want secondary, based on some intel centers. So of course you're seizing most of the fentanyl. She's every car stop. It's It's not a coincidence in the time of the historic illegal immigration crisis overrun the border patrol, where every day, 70 to 90% of agents are no longer on patrol. And Eagle Pass the other day, that 11,000 that day, that entry, Eagle Pass won every agent off the line for days. Hundreds of miles of border, not a single border patrol unit come on. You think the cartels have to do that? So that scares me. You're right. It doesn't take a big weapon of mass destruction either. I'm telling you, something's coming. There's a lot of, they just released thousands of prisoners in Afghanistan, prisons, terrorists.
Right.
Their whole sole purpose in life is to destroy this country. All they gotta do is get in Mexico. Pay the cartels the election. The cartels don't give a shit to the movement. It's all about the money. And even if they had some sort of, we need to vet people for responsible. You can't vet every terrorist, because even though the government vets them, there's terrorists out there that we don't have any record on because they weren't encountered on the battlefield. There's no intelligence on them. They could be a terrorist, just haven't been recognized yet. So even if we vet them and say, okay, they're vetted, doesn't mean they're innocent. It just means there's no record yet. So good question, and I'm telling you, it scares the hell out of me. It does. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Why do you think President Biden is putting up a wall? Why, what kind of purpose would he have to put up a wall now?
Elections. He's taking a beating on the border. He wants to try to show he's doing something. Because even some of the Democrats are raising hell on, the Democrat mayor governors, he needs to show that he's not buying into the issue. It's politics. Believe me, if they're actually constructing a wall, the day after election, that construction stops. And they're not going to build any meaningful wall anyways. He says he's doing it because he has to because of the laws. The laws didn't say he had to bypass over 20 regulatory laws on migration and clean water act. He didn't have to break all those things. So this is all politics. Nothing more politics.
Thank you again, Tom, for speaking. It's been enlightening. I'm a former vet, Navy. My first love is my country. Immigrant father, but I'm still in education, 20 years, and my job is ESOL specialist, as you probably come across, teaching English to speakers of other languages. And in my studies, I'm noticing a migrational pattern here. So when you come to the school by law, I have to test you within 10 days, find you a grade, find your former teachers, and get all these addresses in place or I get threatened with losing my job weekly. The trend I'm noticing in a certain quadrant within this zip code is I was washing my own car for a few weeks, and every time I went there, and this was one particular season, the immigrants I saw, all male. I'm not showing favoritism to women or whatever, but I do have a fond affection for the single moms trying to get a better life for their children. I have a hard time letting these guys come across. I do, because most of them have shown me that they're willing to work, they're willing to educate, or they're willing to do good. But someone has been providing these people money. All of them had new Camrys, new Toyota cars, vehicles, within a time frame. All of them were washing their car not at work, and for the people that I know and I deal with, they're at work every day. So there was this huge migration of men in the quadrant in this zip code, washing cars, brand new cars, and it was like tax day in America when everyone gets their tax returns. Can you enlighten me? That's my job every day, is to save the children. But at the same time, I'm up against so many odds where the minute I get this child tested, get them a schedule, get them in the system, they're off again. And now I have to track them, and they move 12 times before their next school.
Well, they get paid several times. When they're in Mexico, the United Nations gives them a credit card for $6,800. United Nations, that we're funding. President Trump already said he would not fund the United Nations at the time.
That's right.
United Nations pay them in Mexico. We found that. We found the evidence of that. Then once they get like New York City, not only do they get housing and food, they get money. And it's all being awarded. So the CDP said, we don't give the aliens money, we don't pay for plane tickets. I guess that's truly the way they say it, but the money gets given to FEMA. FEMA awards the money to the NGOs, and NGOs dish out plane tickets and money. You're taxpayers, you're money paying. That's what this administration's doing. Meanwhile, I tell you a story, when I was in Phoenix, Arizona, months ago, one of the NGO groups rented an entire hotel, middle of summer. Illegal aliens rent these hotel rooms, air conditioning, 3 meals a day, doctor visit every day, money, free medical tests, free medical appointments. They're getting all this stuff for free. 1 block away, the homeless encampment. I stopped, talked to 4 homeless vets who don't get 3 meals a day, who don't get air conditioning in the middle of summer in Phoenix, Arizona. They're living in tents and tarps and hung in trees. This is a shame. This administration affects our veterans. Look, I got 2 pastors from Chicago calling me, begging me to get Trump to Chicago because the black community in Chicago feels abandoned. They can't pay their rent. They're having a hard time making ends meet. They can't find lunches for their school kids. Meanwhile, they're able to go amateur in hotel rooms at $500 a night, getting 3 meals delivered to them, and they throw the meal back and they don't like it. In New York City, they're actually dumping thousands of dollars of food every day. We don't want chicken breast, we want bone-in chicken. That was one of the complaints, they want bone-in chicken. I like bone-in chicken too, but I'm not getting it for free, I'm not gonna bitch about it. And then we'll keep coming, because as long as we keep giving them free hotel rooms, we start giving them meals, and we start putting them in school for free. The big thing is the vaccinations. The New York City health officials said they got over 9,000 children in New York City schools who never received a single vaccination. Now, I'm not a vaccination nut, but they don't have the polio vaccinations, they don't have the hepatitis A and B. I know when I put my kids in school, I had to show a vaccination record for them. These kids got 1 vaccination, how are they getting into our public school system? Again, because this administration turns a blind eye to it. So yeah, they're getting money, your tax money, through FEMA, through the NGOs. And United Nations, shame on them. They want mass migration throughout the hemisphere. Why? I don't know. World order.
Hi.
Hi. You got an echo.
Thank you for being here. I have a question about government shutdown. I understand that a lot of the staff or whoever's working inside the government, that once the shutdown is over, they get their paychecks, they get retro pay. So what good does the government really achieve by shutting down? I don't understand it.
They don't work, don't pay. But as a law enforcement officer, I didn't get paid during the shutdown. I went through 3 shutdowns in my career. I got paid back pay, but I was working. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And if you don't get paid, you're going to start calling Congress and demanding action. But the first people that shouldn't get paid are congressmen and senators. They shouldn't get it done. But they want their own laws for the shutdown to get paid. That shit needs to change. And I think an executive order by President Trump will fix that.
Good. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, you guys were here. You, okay, so, you mentioned John Kelly before, okay? So we all know there are a lot of people like John Kelly that Trump, we all know that there's a lot of people like John Kelly that Trump picked for positions that all turned out to be bad. Now, those people had to be recommended by somebody to him because he didn't personally know. So I've got to guess that by now, Trump has learned the channels that were working against him. Because we want an insurance that his picks this time are going to be different than last time. So I'm going to guess that, I don't know if you can name names of the people that were channeling, because the people to him that were working behind his back, because obviously they were working behind his back.
Tom, I'd like to volunteer to be on the committee to help him.
Sure. I think he's learned his lessons. And one of the people who making a lot of recommendations was Chris Christie. He was on his transition staff. And Chris Christie said, well, this guy's good. Even the Democrats like him. We have no problem during the confirmation process. Maybe he said the Democrats like him. He should have been off the list. And what irritates me, first of all, John Kelly, I respect his service to the nation. 4-year Marine Corps, son killed in action. I respect his service. But here's my problem with all these generals. All Trump. You're all attacking Trump now. So the terrible things about him. But I haven't said a damn thing about Joe Biden destroying the military, making them woke. While that withdrawal in Afghanistan, not one general stepped up and said, Biden, you're wrong on this. Why is
That's
it?
right.
Because they don't want to lose their $1 million board of directors job to some big corporation.
That's right.
And what a shame. I thought our generals would stand up for this country regardless of a side job or a board of directors job, just do it. So, we all know what he did to the military. We know how many veterans left the military because they didn't want to take the jab. We know he made them vote. We know he's got all sorts of strange people now in the military. We know he did we know he did in Afghanistan. Not one general has spoken up, other than one. The guy that happened to work for me at Fox. He has no problem talking about it. General King. All us generals not a word. That disgusts me because if you, I held him in high esteem. If you want to throw Trump on the bus, fine, you got that right. But don't hold back on Biden. He's into the military in Afghanistan. We lost total respect around the world. Our military is not. We're not as lethal as they used to be, in my opinion, because we lost a lot. We gave ISIS billions of dollars worth of our own military equipment. Not one general has come out and taken Biden down. It's disgusting.
That's right.
I have a problem with that because, you respect the military, you respect the generals, but why don't no one speak out? The only thing I think of, most of them sit on some board or some big corporation making $1 million a year, they don't want to lose their job because that corporation is a woke corporation. If somebody got a better reason, explain it to me, guys. That's the only reason I can think of. Well, he learned his lesson. I guarantee it. That man, he knows who his friends are now. And you can tell. How many people work for him that wrote a book? He said things bad about him. When I wrote a book when I retired, they didn't write a book. What do you want to say? I got chapter 19, the Trump effect. It's all good. I said, my friend, I'll send it to you before I publish it. He loved it. Because I've never turned my back on this president. He's not perfect. And I said earlier to somebody, if you want a perfect president, then you got to wait for the second coming of Jesus. And I'm loyal to the guy. I'll take a vote for the guy. I'll take a massive pay cut and go work for the guy again because I think he's the greatest president I've ever worked for. And he can fix this country. I think he's the only one who can fix it.
Yep.
And if you don't get back in the White House at 25,
We're dead.
if the Democrats take 4 more years,
Rep, we die.
I don't know if we're ever going to be able to fix it.
Yeah.
Question on immigration. We have one video that you're showing that there was a lot of Chinese and military age men crossing the borders. We've got the potential that China is going to take over Taiwan. In fact, that's probably doing already by now with Biden and that's like, it's very nerve-wracking for me because we have potential saboteurs across the country.
They got
We didn't have
375,000
potential, we
students.
got it. I'm telling you, we got it. It's just a matter of time when I take action. But like 30,000 Chinese nationals, military age, have been arrested on the border since my president. 30,000. And they want to destroy this country. They're already poisoning this country with fentanyl. What's President Biden done about China and fentanyl? Nothing. President Trump made America great again. President Biden made China great again. If President Trump was in power, he called it G and tell him to stop supplying fentanyl to criminal cartels, or we're going to tear the shit out of you and we'll bankrupt you. And he told Mexican president, step up, take action on the cartels right away. I tell you, President Trump comes back and Mexico will take on the cartels, he's going to. He'll spend special ops down there. He'll take them out. And I hope he does. Because Mexican government's corrupt. They haven't fixed the cartels in 30 years. And the Mexican president doesn't fear this president, doesn't fear President Biden. Trump gets into power, you watch to see what happens to the cartels. You take them out just like you did the Caliphate races.
Exactly. Salami.
If our electrical system goes down, they're saying there's 55,000 substations now throughout the whole country. If there's that many sleeper cells in the country, we wipe out our electrical system, we're down. We're done as far as that goes. And we know, like I said, 1.2 million tidal waves. It's easy enough to tear down the country.
Do the water, they can do anything.
If they have it all organized.
Well, it's 1.7 million gotaways, and we don't even know the unbilled gotaways. How many people got in the country made a trip off a video? But you're right. You know the greatest thing about this country is we all got guns.
Mm-hmm.
So if
That's right,
China wants to
rednecks
take us
too.
on, You're not just taking on U.S. military, come on. So, I'll say it again. I've never been more scared about the safety of this country than right now. I go to bed every night worried. Something's coming. And people say, oh, you're a fear-minded. Okay, I wrote an op-ed in June of 2020 saying, if Joe Biden became president, we lose the border, and the criminal cartels will have operational control of the southern border. Hundreds of replies, you're a fear-minded, you're just trying to get Trump reelected, you don't know, you're full of shit. Well, who was right? I did a show the other day, I said, I've been working for the network for 3 years, I said, I dare you go to, I got hundreds of interviews on national TV. You find one interview where I said something wasn't right, or I said something's going to happen, it happened. You give me one. Find one. You can't. I'm not saying I'm a genius, I've done this a long time. And I'm scared to death that something's coming. It's all adding up.
That's what I said.
So, Homan, I have a question. So, I might maybe on me being politically incorrect, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, everybody that's doing this pro-Palestine kind of protest should probably be gathered together and brought in for questioning about terrorist activities, in my opinion. Why aren't they rounding anybody up and being like, yo, why are you supporting this? This is not right.
This administration are having goals. I'm just, again, I apologize to the ladies, it's who I am. I'm sorry. But look, I said this morning, I did a show this morning, I said on the show, I was asked about that question. What should we, Tom, you must be discussing again. I said, there are all these people protesting hate on America and they're sympathizing with terrorist organizations. If they're here on a visa, I deport them.
Student, yep.
We bring in the greatest gift of a person that lives in a third world nation is to give you a visa that you come to the greatest nation on earth to make a good life for yourself. And if you're going to hate on America and sympathize with terrorists, get them out.
Yeah, get out of here.
So I said this morning, I was telling Judy in the car way over, I'm sure that the left is going after me hard right now on social media, which I don't give a shit what they say about me. I mean, my wife asks me all the time, is it fine to you that big part of this country hates you? I said, nope. Nope, it doesn't. Because if they saw what if they knew half of what I saw in my career, they'd understand. But I get it. It's disgusting. And what disgusts me even more is the college like Harvard who stands by it. And they get federal assistance too. I tell you, a new president
Cảm ơn cả nhà nhé. Thank you cả nhà đã watching. Love you. Bye.
He's a badass president. I can't wait for him to get back. He's going to take some action.